Hey there 49ers fans, let's dive deep into what the San Francisco 49ers absolutely need to do if they want to get back to competing for a Super Bowl title. The journey back to the top is filled with challenges, and there are a handful of key factors that will determine whether this team can rise and make a serious run again. At the core of all this, the health and performance of some crucial players will shape the entire season and possibly the future of the franchise. First and foremost, Trent Williams has to stay healthy. This isn't just a hope, it's a necessity. Williams is arguably one of the most critical players on the Niners roster, especially considering the offensive line as a whole has been inconsistent at best. If Trent goes down, that means someone like Andre Dillard, Austin Pleasance, or Spencer Burford has to step in at left tackle. Protecting Brock Purdy's blind side is a huge job, and if that protection breaks down, it could spell disaster for the offense. The pressure would mount on Purdy, forcing him into bad situations and potentially derailing the entire game plan. Now, while Christian McCaffrey is obviously a massive asset when healthy, there's no denying that Kyle Shanahan's running game has proven it can succeed even without him. If you look back over the years, Shanahan's offense has thrived with a variety of backs. Whether it was Matt Bryant, Raheem Mostert, Elijah Mitchell, or Jordan Mason, the ground attack in San Francisco has always had the ability to move the chains and wear down defenses. This isn't just luck or coincidence, it's the product of Shanahan's smart play calling, innovative play designs, and a well-coached blocking scheme. So yes, having McCaffrey in the lineup elevates everything because of his explosiveness and versatility, but the offense has shown it can be successful on the ground, with or without him. Trent Williams is about to turn 37 years old this month, and last season he played only 10 games due to injuries. His availability in 2025 is one of the biggest questions hanging over the team. If he can return healthy and strong, the Niners' offensive line will immediately look more stable, and that stability is exactly what the team needs to protect their quarterback and keep their offense humming. If Williams struggles or misses significant time, it could undo a lot of progress and force Shanahan into constant damage control. Looking beyond the offensive line and the running game, there's also a lot of focus on the wide receiver group. Ricky Pearsall is expected to take a big leap forward this year. He has shown flashes of explosiveness and big playability that could make him the most dynamic receiver on the team, especially if Brandon Ayuk isn't able to replicate his previous form. Pearsall's route running footwork and toughness stand out, and he plays bigger than his size, which is exactly what the Niners need in their receiving cores. The Niners also have some promising talent in Jauan Jennings, who, while not quite as explosive as Pearsall, brings a reliable presence on the outside. Demarcus Robinson is a solid number 3 or 4 option, although he doesn't quite have the athletic traits of Pearsall. Then there's Jacob Cowing, who had an impressive spring and now faces the real test of performing in training camp and preseason with pads on. Jordan Watkins, a rookie with blazing speed and explosiveness, also adds to the mix, though he's still unproven at the NFL level. Pearsall's rookie year was a bit rocky due to injuries and a shooting incident that delayed his development. He struggled through a stretch without many catches, but showed his potential late in the season. Some plays stick out immediately: a 40-yard end around against the Dallas Cowboys that showcased his patience and vision, a 40-yard touchdown catch against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, where he used a clever stutter step to beat one of the league's top safeties, and clutch performances in key moments, including a touchdown contested catch against the Arizona Cardinals. If Pearsall can build on these moments and stay healthy, he can be a major weapon. If Pearsall can step up while Ayuk is out or struggling, the Niners could have a very solid receiver group, consisting of Ayuk, Pearsall, Jennings, Robinson, Cowing, and Watkins. However, if Pearsall doesn't develop as hoped, the team will be forced to lean heavily on Jennings as the number 1 receiver, which might not be ideal, and Robinson's role would increase significantly, leaving more responsibility on less proven players. Since Pearsall was a first-round pick, the Niners can't afford to miss on him. They need him to come through and justify that investment. Turning to the offense as a whole, the Shanahan-Purdy connection is absolutely vital. The duo had an outstanding 2023 season, with Purdy finishing as one of the top 5 MVP candidates, and Shanahan proving he can get the best out of his team. Shanahan might not have taken home Coach of the Year honors, but many argue he deserved it, given how well the offense operated under his guidance. Purdy's poise and decision-making were on full display, helping the Niners rack up impressive numbers. Christian McCaffrey was also a top 5 MVP candidate, finishing with over 2,000 all-purpose yards, and Deebo Samuel and George Kittle both eclipsed the 1,000-yard mark receiving. Brandon Ayuk joined that club as well, creating an offensive unit that was efficient and dangerous across the board. Despite injuries and some struggles, the 49ers ended up with the 4th best overall offense in the entire league last season, a remarkable feat. For the offense to replicate or improve on those results, Shanahan and Purdy have to be back on the same page, executing like they did in their best moments last year. Shanahan's schemes rely on rhythm and timing, and Purdy has to remain sharp and healthy. Injuries took a toll on both of them at times, but when they are firing on all cylinders, this offense can carry the team. Defensively, the 49ers are heading into a younger phase, but there are key veterans and rookies expected to make an impact. The defensive line was a weak spot last year, ranking near the bottom in the NFL. The team's 5 defensive rookies, Mel Williams, Alfred Collins, C.J. West, Nick Martin, and Upton Stout, are expected to play big roles from the start. It's a bold move, but the 49ers have little choice if they want to improve their defense quickly. Fred Warner remains the steady presence and the unquestioned leader of the defense. He can't get hurt if San Francisco wants to be competitive. Alongside him, Nick Martin and Dwayne Eskridge will need to step up and deliver consistent performances. The cornerback position is thin, with Diamador Lenoir, Renard Florial, and Upton Stout forming the starting trio. That group will have to stay healthy because the depth behind them is questionable, and injuries could expose some serious vulnerabilities. Nick Bosa has been a force on the edge when healthy. Although he hasn't matched his 2020 Defensive Player of the Year form consistently, he's still one of the most productive defensive ends in the league. With new additions around him like Bryce Huff and the rookies, Bosa should get more support, allowing him to return to that elite level. His ability to wreak havoc is key for this defense to take the next step. Special teams can't be overlooked either. Jake Moody, the team's kicker, was a major disappointment last season, missing crucial kicks and costing the 49ers several close games. Drafted in the 3rd round, which raised a lot of eyebrows, Moody has to prove he belongs and stop choking under pressure. San Francisco needs a reliable kicker to win those tight matchups, or else all the other hard work could be undone in the final moments. All in all, the road back to Super Bowl contention for the 49ers hinges on a delicate balance of health, development, and execution across multiple areas, from the offensive line and skill positions to coaching, defense, and special teams. The pieces are there, but they have to come together and perform consistently. Every injury avoided, every rookie stepping up, and every key player firing on all cylinders will make a difference in this high-stakes season for San Francisco. Looking ahead, one of the biggest challenges for the 49ers will be maintaining a strong balance between veteran leadership and youthful energy. While the team still leans on stars like George Kittle and Fred Warner to anchor the defense and offense, there's an undeniable influx of young talent trying to carve out roles and prove themselves worthy of the bright lights in San Francisco. This blend can be powerful, but it requires patience, coaching, and a collective drive to grow quickly under pressure. George Kittle's importance to this team cannot be overstated. He's not just a tight end, he's a cornerstone of the offense and a relentless competitor who brings intensity every snap. The 49ers showed faith by giving him a big contract extension, signaling that they expect him to continue being a leader, both on and off the field. Kittle has put up back-to-back 1,000-yard receiving seasons, and even as defenses focus more attention on him, he remains a reliable target for Brock Purdy. Losing him would drastically alter the offensive landscape, especially with the trade of Deebo Samuel and uncertainty surrounding Brandon Ayuk's health and consistency. Kittle also plays a critical role in blocking schemes, often paving the way for the running game to flourish. With Luke Farrell joining the team as a bigger blocking tight end, the 49ers hope to free up Kittle to run more routes and make even more plays downfield. His health, durability, and production will directly influence how effective the offense can be this season. On the defensive side, the pressure is on the rookies and newer players to contribute meaningfully from the start. The 49ers draft and personnel moves indicate a clear intention to build a younger, faster defense. But the question remains whether these rookies can make the leap quickly enough. Mel Williams, Alfred Collins, and C.J. West all bring different skill sets to the defensive line, but each needs to adjust to the speed and complexity of the NFL. Their ability to support Nick Bosa by occupying blockers and generating pressure could allow the star defensive end to return to his dominant form. Nick Bosa has proven he can be a game-changer when healthy, and his production in 2022 was a big reason why the 49ers defense was so effective last year, though injuries and the added attention from offenses limited his impact. With better support From the defensive front and linebackers, Bosa should have more chances to break through and create havoc in the backfield. His presence demands double teams, but if the rookies and veterans around him can win their matchups, Bosa can wreak havoc without needing to beat the blockers every snap. Fred Warner remains the unquestioned heart and soul of this defense. His leadership, football IQ, and tackling ability are irreplaceable. In a defense undergoing some transition and rebuilding, Warner's consistency will be essential. Injuries to him would be devastating. Alongside Warner, the linebacker group needs to be sound, disciplined, and ready to step up. The defense must limit big plays and force offenses to earn every yard, especially since the secondary is thin and somewhat inexperienced. The corners Diamador, Lenoir, Renard, Florial, and Upton Stout will need to hold their own against increasingly athletic receivers and tight ends in the league. Depth is a critical concern for the 49ers across the roster. The accumulation of injuries last season exposed the thinness in several positions, and that vulnerability is something the front office must address. Either through the draft, free agency, or player development, young players must not only fill in when called upon, but push the starters to maintain a high level of performance. Competition within the squad will drive improvement and readiness for those moments when injuries strike. On offense, Brock Purdy's development is a key storyline for the 49ers moving forward. In his breakout 2023 season, Purdy proved he could be a top-tier quarterback, showing poise, accuracy, and the ability to lead late-game comebacks. His connection with Shanahan's offense is clear, and the two form one of the most effective coach-quarterback tandems in the league when fully healthy and in rhythm. However, Purdy's ability to avoid injury and stay consistent will be tested this season, especially behind an offensive line that can still be shaky without Trent Williams. Purdy's chemistry with his receivers is a big part of the offensive success. Without Deebo Samuel and with some uncertainty surrounding Ayuk, much of the burden falls on the shoulders of George Kittle and the younger receivers like Ricky Pearsall and Jauan Jennings to make plays and keep the chains moving. The offense also needs the running game to stay dynamic and unpredictable to keep defenses honest. Christian McCaffrey's presence certainly elevates the ground attack, but Shanahan has demonstrated time and time again that his scheme can produce effective rushing performances with a variety of backs. Special teams, often an overlooked factor, could be a make-or-break element for the 49ers this year. Jake Moody, the third-round kicker, whose selection raised many eyebrows, struggled mightily last season. Missed field goals and extra points cost the team critical points in close games. Given how many tight contests the 49ers play, special teams errors can tilt the balance toward defeat. Moody's mental toughness and accuracy need to improve drastically. If not him, the team has to find a reliable alternative, because close wins and losses often come down to kicking coverage units and return game execution. The Niners' defense also needs to generate more takeaways and turnovers to complement the offense. Pressure on opposing quarterbacks from the front seven and aggressive play from the secondary can create game-changing moments. The defensive rookies, along with veterans, will need to sharpen their skills in reading offenses, communicating in coverage, and finishing plays with interceptions and forced fumbles. Another important factor for the 49ers' success in 2025 will be the coaching staff's ability to making game adjustments and keep the team disciplined. Kyle Shanahan is known for his creative play designs and innovative offensive schemes, but as defenses get smarter, adaptability becomes just as crucial. The ability to pivot when something isn't working and to exploit weaknesses as they appear will separate good teams from championship contenders. Shanahan's growth as a head coach, along with his offensive staff's ability to develop players, especially young talent, will be under the microscope. Likewise, the defensive coaching must instill confidence in a younger roster, teaching the intricacies of the 49ers system while empowering players to play aggressively, but within the framework. The defensive coordinator's approach to managing personnel, calling plays, and mixing coverages will play a huge role in how effective this defense can be. The 49ers are undoubtedly in a transition phase, juggling the challenge of maximizing the prime years of established stars while simultaneously integrating rookies and younger players into key roles. This balancing act requires patience from fans and smart management from the front office. Drafting well and developing talent internally will be critical, because free agency alone won't solve every roster deficiency. The success of the rookies Mel Williams, Alfred Collins, C.J. West, Nick Martin, and Upton Stout could accelerate this rebuilding timeline and push the 49ers back into elite status sooner rather than later. One cannot overlook the mental toughness and resilience of this team either. The 49ers lost several close games last season that could have changed their playoff fate. Building a culture of winning tight contests, executing under pressure, and finishing games strong will be a hallmark of a Super Bowl contender. This means improving focus on fundamentals like tackling, ball security, situational awareness, and clutch performance across all three phases of the game. Looking at the overall picture, the path to the Super Bowl for the San Francisco 49ers isn't easy. They face tough competition in the NFC West and around the league, with many teams also improving and hungry for success, but the pieces are there for the Niners to be competitive if they can stay healthy, develop their young talent, and execute Shanahan's system at a high level. Key players like Trent Williams, George Kittle, Fred Warner, and Nick Bosa need to perform at or near their best, while rookies and new contributors must step up and fill in gaps. The offensive line must hold together to give Purdy time and open lanes for the run game. The receiving corps has to consistently make plays and maintain rhythm. The defense must create pressure, limit big plays, and force turnovers. Special teams have to avoid costly mistakes, and the coaching staff has to manage the team's strengths and weaknesses skillfully throughout the season. If all these elements align, the San Francisco 49ers have a legitimate shot at returning to the Super Bowl conversation. The franchise has been close in recent years, and with the right breaks and solid performances, this year could be the one where everything clicks. It will be exciting to watch how the 49ers navigate this pivotal season. Fans should stay hopeful but realistic, knowing that football is unpredictable and demanding. Success in the NFL requires more than just talent. It demands consistency, resilience, and a little bit of luck. Here's hoping the 49ers have all three in 2025 as they fight to bring a championship back to the Bay Area. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to 49ers Zone and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the San Francisco 49ers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Whispers are growing louder in the NFL world as rumors swirl around Jauan Jennings and the San Francisco 49ers. The wide receiver, who had been quietly making a name for himself, is reportedly feeling disrespected and ignored by the team's front office. Sources close to the situation hint that Jennings' frustration is reaching a boiling point, sparking speculation about his future with the franchise. Jauan Jennings, known for his solid performances and steady contributions on the field, seems to be caught in a growing storm off the gridiron. Insiders say he's increasingly vocal about feeling overlooked by the 49ers management, who some believe have failed to properly recognize his value. The whispers suggest a deepening rift between player and front office, with Jennings expressing discontent over contract negotiations and his role within the team's strategy. The 49ers, a team accustomed to high-profile talent and championship aspiration, may be underestimating the impact of sidelining a player like Jennings. While not the flashiest name on the roster, his work ethic and clutch plays have earned him respect among teammates and fans alike. Yet the rumored lack of communication and support from the higher-ups could be pushing Jennings toward rethinking his place in San Francisco. Speculation is mounting that if the organization does not address Jennings' concerns, the relationship could deteriorate further. Some insiders hint at the possibility of Jennings seeking opportunities elsewhere, whether through trade or free agency. The NFL landscape is full of stories where player dissatisfaction leads to unexpected moves, and this situation appears ripe for a shakeup.